Warning, this web TV show has been created by a radical warrior man for modern radical warrior men. If you are not a warrior male who is ready to be liberated, are easily offended, or generally just a pussy, save yourself now and stop this life-liberating video immediately. Although created for warrior men, warrior women are always welcome.
Hey everybody, this is Garrett White, the Master Coach Mentor and creator of the Warrior 90-Day Challenge, where I take 5 powerful male warrior entrepreneurs just like you every single month through a process we call the Warrior's Way to having it all. Having it all in your body, having it all in your beingness, having it all in your balance of your marriage and your significant relationships with your children, and having it all in your bank accounts and business. To learn more about the Warrior 90-Day Challenge and what male warriors just like you are doing to have it all over the world, check out a free 4-part video series at wakeupwarrior.com. In today's episode, we're going to cover 3 powerful conversations. Conversation number 1 is why you must become the dumbass. Conversation number 2 is the importance of tracking the gap. And conversation number 3 is why you absolutely must learn to engage the masses. Welcome to episode number 13 here at Wake Up Warrior TV. Let's get started now. Become the dumbass? This first conversation might be a little bit confusing for you. Here's the deal. Most of the time, most of my life, I have spent 100% of my energy attempting to be right. Now, this rightness itself has caused a bit of stress. The rightness itself has caused a bit of anxiety. The rightness itself has caused me oftentimes to be more wrong than I am right. In case you're wondering, go ahead and check with my wife. You can find her at dkwstyling.com. Now, on to this conversation of being the dumbass, though. See, being the dumbass requires you to show up and look silly in the marketplace. It requires you to do things that people will laugh at. Oh no, they're all gonna laugh at you. Guess what? Anytime that you try something new, you're gonna look stupid. Anytime you try to discover new insights, new ideas, new possibilities, warrior, you're gonna look like a dumbass. Guess what? There's always gonna be someone around the corner who's going, look at the dumbass. You're like, dude, listen. There's a process to discovering new possibility in your life. And in order to get from suck to success, we must first conceive an idea. Our next action step has to be do something. Seth Godin calls it shipping it from his book Linchpin. Ship it, ship it, ship it, ship it. Have an idea? Ship it. Have an idea? Ship it. The more you sit around and think about your ideas and you don't do anything about them and you don't execute on them, guess what? You don't become a dumbass that the world can see. You just become a dumbass that only you can see. So you got a choice here. Have an idea and execute on it. Once you execute on it, what? Course correct. Measure what happened. Did there happen and was there a shift in your action? When I first started learning how to do video, when I first started learning how to market, and I first started learning how to do things online, I was a total dumbass. Literally, I had no idea what to do. So I got an idea, I watched some people do some things, and boom, I executed. First time it sucked. Second time it sucked, third time it sucked, fourth time it sucked, and hundreds and thousands of times later, here I am doing video and online marketing in a way that is affecting literally hundreds of thousands of people every single month. Now, your beginning begins today, and it begins with taking those ideas in your mind, being willing to look like the dumbass by executing right now, even if you're not prepared. Oh no, I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared. Let me let you in on a little secret. Nobody's prepared until you go. And guess what? Nothing in your life, regardless of what the skill set is going to be that fun until you're good at it. And the only way for you to be good at it is to go. So take your ideas, execute today, measure the results, course correct, and then guess what you get to do again? Conceive another idea that's bigger than the first idea, execute, measure, course correct, and then do what? Conceive an idea, execute, measure, and course correct, and you get the point by now. Conversation number 2, track the gap. Listen, I have loved my body from the time I was young. Now, I don't mean love my body like I love myself. That's not the kind of love I'm talking about, although maybe that would be an option too. What I am talking about is a love to use my body to find pieces of me. From the time I was young, I would use my body through sports and athletics to find and to discover possibility and power in my life. That led to a collegiate football career, Boise State, professional football, Ironman triathlons, ultra marathons, and eventually led me into CrossFit. Now, the problem was that I was trained for long endurance running, not for box jumps and fast fitness, etc. And like a dumbass, like we just talked about before, I jumped into box jumps, entered a CrossFit very quickly with no stretching, no warm-up, etc. One particular day, it happened to be on a Labor Day after I'd stayed up all night long working on video. I got up and I went in to go do CrossFit, and I jumped a little bit faster than I probably should have, and I didn't warm up, and my Achilles were tired and they were worn out from a career of playing with my body, and bam! Achilles tendon broken. Broke right in half. I remember the time it happened as I came down off the box, I turned around because I literally thought somebody had thrown a kettlebell at my Achilles. It broke. I went into the doctor literally weeping, crying, and sobbing because of the consequence of not being able to use my body. The doctor said, yep, it's ripped, and we had surgery 2 days later. Now, after 2 months of surgery, I'm a very quick learner, and so as my family and I were about to move from where we were at in Salt Lake City, Utah, down to Phoenix, Arizona, we had a small trailer that we placed on the back of my wife's SUV. I, being the hero, got it. 2 months after surgery, just barely getting out of my boot, meaning I was just barely authorized to start physical therapy, decided that I would climb up into the back of the trailer and help move a few very light boxes. Why? Because I mean that. And in doing this and moving them up into the trailer, me being the dumbass, didn't listen to my wife, who came out and said, hey babe, you know what? I don't really like the fact that you're out there. It doesn't make me comfortable. Why don't you come in and have some soup? Literally, it was soup. I didn't listen to going and getting the soup, and lo and behold, I slipped out of this trailer and bam! Broke the Achilles tendon in 2 different places. Found myself in surgery 2 days later again. Time with a cadaver tendon being taken off the back of the dead guy and put into my Achilles tendon. This game itself was great, and I was recovering and going through all of this therapy, and then I was in my crutches, sitting in Walmart, going down the aisle. The rubber piece slips off the crutch. My crutch slips. Bam! 3rd time, I end up in the emergency room 3 times. Now, after tearing your Achilles tendon 3 times, the last thing in the world you're trying to think of is, oh, I really hope I can do some box jumps. I, even with all of my athletic background, was looking for one simple thing. Can I just walk? I remember the day I sat there and I was like, God, you know, if I could just pick up my kids. 14 months on crutches. I was like, if I could just pick up my kids and not have to crutch, if I could help my wife with the groceries, if I could just walk down the street and not be in pain, that would be awesome. And it was crazy because it wasn't 9 months later that I'm competing in my first CrossFit competition. And I'm looking at my times and I'm looking at my weights, and a month after that, I'm now almost a year out of that last surgery. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I gotta be faster, I gotta be stronger, I gotta be better. I'm not good enough, I gotta go. And I got to this place one day where I thought, man, I gotta be the worst CrossFit athlete on the planet. And then there was this little voice that came into my mind, and it said, Garrett, you know what? Do you remember where you came from? And I pulled up the pictures, the surgery pictures. My surgeon had taken with the phone while I was in surgery. My legs split open, filleted like a fish with my tendon in there, and the stitches and the sutures and the hemorrhaging and the bleeding and the pussing and the infection that was in my leg for so long, and the crutches and the soreness in my armpits. And I was recalled back to the day when I said, oh God, if I could just walk again, that would be awesome. See, Warrior, what I want you to consider is simply this, that your goals and your desires and the things that you want in life, they're like the ever-moving horizon. It doesn't matter how much you create, how much you produce, how much you change, how much you bring to your world in the form of having it all, that benchmark is going to always expand, just like mine did. I went from wanting to walk to now saying, well, I should be top 60 in my region and qualify for CrossFit regionals, and yet a year before I couldn't even walk. And my measurement continues to move as my success improves. We do it with money. We do it with our relationships. We do it with our bodies. We do it with our children. We do it with God. And so we have to, in order to appreciate the process of our lives, we've got to track the gap, which means we have to go back to the place we were, analyze it from where we are, and then look to this place that we say we want to go. See, not only did I hit my goal to be able to walk again, I could now run a 6-minute mile again and a sub 6-minute mile. I could lift and squat and bench and push and cling and snatch and do all these things and swim and cycle and run and all these things that I didn't even think were as a possibility. I just thought, man, I just want to walk. So did I improve? Absolutely. And when I spent that day and I looked back at the gap I had come from, the place of where I was to the place I was today, I thought, man, thank goodness, and I felt grateful. But every time I only look from the place I am to the place where I think I should be, guess what I feel? All kinds of despair, frustration, and disregard for my process in life. And Warrior, what I want you to consider is that your life itself is powerful. But see, you don't see it as powerful because you don't ever track the gap. You don't ever look back and say, you know what, where have I come from? Maybe for you it was you were smoking 3 packs a day, and now today you smoke 2 cigarettes a day. And other people are like, you suck ass, man. You don't even get it, man. You're still smoking. And yet in your life, you're looking back and you're saying, 2 years ago, I smoked 3 packs a day, and today I smoke 2 cigarettes. That's progress, brother. And see, I want you to consider that in your life as a warrior today, that your goal itself is not perfection. The perfection itself is found through the process of what? The process of expansion. And that the process of your expansion is perfect, but see, you only analyze and are able to see the progress in the journey within you and within me when you stop for a moment and you think and observe and you track the gap from where you've come to where you are and use the targeting future as the place you want to go next. Conversation number 3, learn to engage. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Your life itself as a warrior, leader, liberator is going to always be filled with conflict. Always. I don't care what Zen Mama Dada has told you about how life itself is supposed to be experienced on the top of a mountain going, listen, there's power in the Om. There's power on being on top of the mountain. But guess where the fights are? The fights are in the street. Guess where your life grows? It's in the street. Guess where you've been called to lead? Warrior, in the street. Which means you're going to have to engage. Now, the difficult thing about being a warrior is we've been called to engage and to interrupt the drift of life. Change the patterns in the way that people see things so they can experience more power in themselves. But there's only one of 3 kind of responses that we have when it comes to engagement. Number 1 is for us to avoid engagement. This is the voice that comes up inside. It has us not want to talk to our wife, or not want to talk to our client, or talk to our business partner, not to have the conversation with our parents, not to even have the conversation with ourselves. We avoid the conversation of engagement because we say that engagement is conflict. And I'll tell you that conflict is engagement, and then engagement is conflict. And when a conflict and engagement come together, what we create is a new space of possibility. So the first thing you could do is avoid it. The second thing you could do is attack it. This is what I tend to do. I don't tend to avoid shit. I get it into my mind. I know something's up and I'm like, nah! Like I want to go get it right now. And that might be more how you would take it on. So instead of being in a place in which I avoid it, contract it, suppress it, or disagree with it, I immediately go after it. I go get whatever it is I feel like needs to be gotten. In the attack mode and in the avoid mode, we experience the game at 2 different extremes. And there's going to be times when you attack when you engage, and there's going to be times when you avoid when you engage. And I'm going to have you consider that both of these are powerful, available tools. And sometimes it makes sense for you to avoid, and sometimes it makes sense for you to attack. That the place you must get to, and the place that meditation and the process of contemplation can take you to, brother, is a place called what? Assessment. See, assessment itself sits up above. It's what Buddha called the observer chooser. And from this place of assessment, I can look down at the problems of my life and I can choose where on the scale from attack extreme to avoid extreme can I access in order to get what I want done. Whether it's a relationship with my wife or my girlfriend, or a relationship with my children, or a relationship with my friends, or a relationship with my clients, whether it's a marketing or sales or profitability issue in my business, whether it's something going on in my body, whether it's something going on in my spirituality. Here's what I'll tell you. You're always left with a choice, but my encouragement for you is to do what's necessary, to pay the price of what's necessary, to create the space in your life to rise above the extremeness of attack and the extremeness of avoidance, and to find a place of assessment in which you can assess the situation, or as Buddha called it, the observer chooser, and choose consciously the attack or choose consciously the avoidance, and not simply be wrapped up in the game. Most individuals who are disempowered, who simply trigger and respond to attack or avoid. All right, that brings us to a summary here of Wake Up Warrior episode number 13. Today we covered 3 powerful conversations. Number 1, why you must become the dumbass in order to get stuff that you want. Second, how to go about tracking the gap to find more joy. And the third game is simply the power of how you must engage when it comes to assessing the circumstances and situations of your life. Now, if you're a warrior who's looking to have it all, and this message itself resonates with you, but you want something a little more specific about how you would go about creating that space I talked about today, how you go about finding the power to engage and to lock up and to conceive and create and all the fun conversation, check out a free 4-part video series I created just for you at wakeupwarrior.com. For all the rest of you, thanks so much again for being here in this episode. And like you've been doing so magnificently every single week, continue to share up these episodes that we now have over 1 million downloads and 1 million views on YouTube. You know what to do with this. Share it up with all the other warriors around the world on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, or Google+. Bing! And have a fantastic week. And as we wrap up this episode, remember that Power Warrior in today's marketplace comes down to the simple formula of authenticity. Be real, give raw, stay relevant. Ta-da!
Aw yeah, you know what to do now. Go check out that free 4-part video series at wakeupwarrior.com now.